In the first episode of our cloud season, we talked about the regulations that apply to the cloud at EU level, as well as data sovereignty and governance. For this episode, we welcome once more Cloud Transformation Manager, Quentin Bechoux, but also Simon Petitjean, Cybersecurity Director and Offensive Security and Red Team Leader at PwC Luxembourg. The topic? Cloud Security. More precisely, our guests explained to us what the European Cybersecurity Certification Scheme for Cloud Services is all about, how to manage the security part of the cloud adoption journey, and how to ensure the security of data in the public cloud. But it doesn't end there. Are you ready? Let's go!
Welcome to a new episode of Tech Talk. This is Cloud Season, episode 2, and the title is the one on cloud security. Is that right, Armin?
That's right. Very exciting topic indeed.
Indeed. And we have with us again Quentin. Welcome, Quentin.
Hello, everyone.
And again as well, Simon. Welcome, Simon. Nice to have you back. Armin.
I would like to ask an opening question. So, what are the EUCS and the ENISA? What do they stand for?
That's a very good question for a starting point. So the EUCS is the European Cybersecurity Certification Scheme for Cloud Services, which actually aims at defining a certification of the cybersecurity of cloud services. So in accordance with the Article 48.2 of the Cybersecurity Act, the ENISA, which also is the European Union for Agency for Cybersecurity, is working on the preparation of the candidate scheme on cloud services as part of the European Cybersecurity Certification Framework. So that's a lot of cybersecurity in a very brief introduction, and well, I guess it's why I'm here with you today.
That's right. I have a follow-up question, which is why should companies care about this European Security Certification Scheme? Why is it important?
That's a very fun one. I think we should make a difference on, or let's say, why they will care and why they should care. I think they will care because they will have to. It will be, mandatory. It will be a compliance issue. So they will probably do it for that reason. Unfortunately, it will not be the good reason. They need to do it for cybersecurity reasons. They need to do it in order to be sure that their cloud infrastructure is secure.
So it's a question not of compliance, but of safety, of security.
Exactly, yeah.
So my next question is, how do companies prepare themselves and how does your team support them in their preparation for the EUCS compliance?
Okay, yeah, we've heard a lot about this EUCS since a while now, but unfortunately and so far, there's not a lot of concrete outcomes, or at least very few actionable measures that we can leverage on. So there's obviously discussion ongoing between the European Commission, the ENISA, and the DPO lawyers of the main hyperscalers such as Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and so on, in order to move forward with an homogeneous pattern. But on the field, talking about hands-on expertise, the cloud industry is far from reaching this point. So from PwC's point of view, and similarly to what's applicable to many comparable fields of expertise, we don't expect to come to a client with a one-size-fits-all approach or a silver bullet solution. The major certainty we have so far is that we will have an extensive analysis work to perform with each and every customer to ensure that we will actually design a suitable solution in regards to both their business and the regulation.
So, what are the big challenges or uncertainties that EUCS raises?
Well, as European, and being a European, I can judge, but we are the world-class champion in terms of regulation. While China and USA focus on innovation first, we always start our path, our journey, by asking ourselves how we should put norms, regulation, compliance requirement before even starting to design a product or a solution. So we are sort of federal union where decisions are collectively taken by 27 members and even probably more to come in the coming years, each having his own very special culture, specific vision, sovereignty, and political systems. For instance, for the EUCS, we've got Ireland, Sweden, and the Netherlands that are fiercely opposed to this project as it is right now. since it goes against what they consider as their own interest. And it might lead to a situation where some major actors with whom they would like to work would be excluded de facto. So ENISA's mandate will not be an easy task, actually, because they try to build something supranational, taking into consideration all these aspects, and then quickly link it to a technical solution or technical solutions that might work for all the countries. And the biggest challenge will be to respect each member state's sovereignty while considering the federal framework around. So there's also, you talk about uncertainty, there's also a big one, a biggest uncertainty above the regulation itself regarding the technical solution that will stand behind. Because if we manage to define a very specific and precise regulation, do we have the technical assets to go forward? Like 69% of the European cloud markets, it actually relies on the GAFAM. So I think the first European outsiders stands behind that something like 2% or something like that. So shall we focus on the regulation first, or would it be more relevant to develop a 100% European product first? So that's from my point of view the biggest question.
Sorry, just to clarify, what is the GAFAM?
I talk about Google, Amazon.
Ah, okay. Thanks. I was distracted, apparently. Okay, so my next question goes to Quentin. How to manage cloud security when starting your cloud adoption journey?
Well, first I would start with the governance of the cloud services and the identity. Those are really the two key points that you need to configure and when starting your cloud journey. So by that, the identity is to federate, to have only one identity with your own premises and your cloud. Then apply some least privilege principles. So give the less right you have to give to the people to avoid having a wide scope of attack available. Then the segregation of roles. People that do not need access to the, let's say, the billing part of the cloud, restrict the access for them, just for the billing team to get access. The conditional access, depending on the IP address that you have, if you are a company with a lot of people abroad, then having an IP from a third country, they will get the MFA pop-up to ensure that this is the right person connecting. And also enabling all the network access control, so to restrict really the access to all the resources in the cloud. Then I would go for the proper configuration and maybe the use of a third-party tool or cloud native tool to really enhance the security. So by that I mean monitoring and alerts, like you would do on premise, you have to do it on the cloud. Another point is enabling all the policies. So you have some global framework that are available, like the CIS one for the security, but you have also a lot of others that are available within all the public cloud provider, and it's just a matter of enabling them. So with that, you will be able to check the compliance of all your resources really easily, and start auto-remediating some of them if you have some issue. Log management also. I would also speak about the protection of your resources with a firewall or a web application firewall, protecting against DDoS attack. So it's a really common attack that we are seeing nowadays. Encrypt. It's really important, but I think we will come back later on this topic. And the last point is to use automation. By that I mean if you have patterns of application that you can deploy using templates, the templates will apply the minimum security requirement, and this will reduce drastically the human errors that you can have deploying resources.
Perfect. And what is your advice to improve the security for the different cloud models?
So if I start with the SaaS and PaaS, so software as a service, platform as a service, a lot of the responsibility is on the cloud provider. but I think that you really need to implement the proper logging and alert solution. Then, as I said before, enabling the MFA, the conditional access, the IP whitelist, blacklist, to ensure that the access to your cloud software is really restricted and secure. Then if we move to infrastructure as a service, I would again speak about the governance and all the security that you have to put in place, but also think about the network configuration and segmentation with the firewall, WAF, as I said, DDoS, having the 3-tier application, so only the load balancer that will be public, your database will be in a private segment and secure. Last point is the resource management. We are always forgetting this point in the cloud, but when you are deploying some virtual machine, you will be responsible on the data that is on it, but also on the patching, the update, etc. And we know that it's really important when we have high security leaks that are there to patch your VM, your operating system, and your applications. So you see, it's depending on the type of SaaS or IaaS, the shared responsibility between the provider and you is a bit different. So you really need to take it into consideration to ensure that all your data are secure.
All right. And when it comes to the public cloud, how to ensure the security of your data? I mean, in case of cyber attack or ransomware.
This one is for Simon.
Yeah, that's a very tough one. First of all, I would say there's no 101 or how to be secure in the cloud in 10 steps. Otherwise, as advisor, we would be probably a bit useless. There's actually a lot to understand, to analyze in an IT infrastructure to make it like more secure and more resilient. But there's some key elements that you could consider. Like, first of all, I really love to say that it's not because it's a cloud that it's secure. Mainly because there's a lot of companies that will say it's a cloud, so it's secure. It's not per se. If you don't do cybersecurity, there is no magic behind. You have to do it by design if you want it to be like mature in terms of cybersecurity. Also, knowing what you have is very important. You need to know what you want to protect, what is key. If you have a safe at home, it's the same story. You don't put all your belongings in it because all your belongings don't have the same value, and you cannot economically buy a gigantic safe. Otherwise, it would be too easy. So knowing your assets and know your assets, and you will know how to secure them. In the cloud, that's the same. If you don't know what you are doing and why, it will end nowhere near something relevant in terms of control. So there's also a trade-off to consider in terms of a risk-based approach. And probably the last point, being also an incident responder, because you mentioned the ransomware and cyber attacks, dealing with a cyber incident might be slightly different when you do it in the cloud. So I would definitely recommend to be prepared not only to go through the worst case scenario, but also be prepared to respond to the worst case scenario. It might save a precious time one day, and it will help you make the right decision and probably spot your main pain points.
Quentin, what's your view?
Simon is speaking about the ransomware issue, and so I think one of the key points to protect your data against that is having backup. We are seeing a lot of companies that are moving to SaaS software, and they are not thinking about the backup, and it's really mostly true when you're moving to M365, for example, and all the backup related to the mailbox. So having this backup policy in place, and for all your database also, for example, is really important. Having an immutable storage. All the cloud providers are providing this kind of things, so it's really important. And don't forget about the frequency of your backup to have a really low RPO in case of a ransomware. And, for me, the second point is to train and upskill people. If you are used to manage your IT on-premise and you are moving to the cloud, it's a new technology, and we are seeing a lot of time a lack of knowledge to the public cloud. So taking the time to educate your people, train them to the cloud, but also educate them against the phishing attack. I think we are doing it a lot here at
Yes.
PwC with some phishing emails that we have to report.
I
And it's
spotted
really-
one this week. I was very proud of myself.
But I think it's really, really important because it's the main factor of attack that we can see
Yeah.
currently.
The human
Yeah.
factor.
Exactly. What are the key messages you want people to take away from this episode? Quentin, let's start with you.
Yeah, my favorite question. Public cloud provider, they are available everywhere in the world, so they are really facing a lot of attack, and so they are spending a lot of on security budget and securing all the infrastructure. So moving to the cloud, you will benefit from this security from the cloud provider, and I think it will be by default more secure than what you could do on premise. We can see that some DDoS attack, large one, were really mitigated by the cloud provider, so it's really an improvement for a small client. But again, you need to think of your security. You need to have the proper control in place, etc. Protect your data. And at the end, I think it's also a risk appetite. If you have really sensible data, maybe you should not move it to the cloud.
Okay. Well, makes sense.
Takeaways.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
for
you.
this
I
episode.
think this was the most efficient episode we recorded
had it.
ever.
Yeah.
15 minutes, I can see. So well done.
Thank you.
Thank
Well
you
done,
very
team.
much
Thank you.
for coming.
Bye-bye. And that's all for today. This is Tech Talk, technology made simple over a cup of coffee. Don't miss out on any future episodes by hitting subscribe. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode.